Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're talking about Anthem. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and salutations. Today, Alpha Anthem gear progression. Let's get to it. So the developers talked a little bit, actually a lot of it, about gear and gear progression. And unlike cosmetics, this is going to directly affect your power, how much damage you do, how much damage you can take. So let's get right to it. So you have two weapons that you can equip and switch between. And then you have your abilities. So you have your, like the ranger, you have your missile, you have your grenade, and then you have a third ability, which is like a shield to absorb incoming bullets. And then you have, of course, your ultimate ability, which doesn't change. And then you have components and support gear. Now what they've shown, you have 6 slots, or up to 6 slots, which will unlock as you progress through the game, and support gear, which is 1 slot. Now with all this, you also have different levels of gear. So as you progress as a pilot, your gear gets more powerful because you go up in levels. So you start at level 1 and you go up to, let's say, level 30, and the guns and gear mods that you get will be at your level. So if you're level 1, you're only going to get level 1. If you're level 10, you're going to get level 10, etc. As you go up in levels, it gets more powerful. In addition, you have rarities. So 6 different rarities, starting with common, kind of a gray. You have uncommon, which is a green, rare, which is a blue, epic, which is purple, masterwork, which is orange or gold, and then you have the legendary, which is the top tier. So as you go through your pilot progression, you will get a more likely chance to get the higher end gear the farther you go. So at level 1, it's going to be really uncommon. It's going to be exceptional if you get some sort of epic weapon. So you're more likely to get common, and then you have a chance of getting uncommon and rare. And then as you go up, the chance of getting common is going to go down. Chance of getting uncommon is going to go up, and so on and so forth. And then as you get even further, common and uncommon are going to be pretty small. Rare is even going to be relatively small, and then epic is going to be much larger. You're going to have a chance to get those epic gear. And then masterwork, I believe masterwork and legendary, you're looking at specific difficulty levels and specific activities in order to get. So you're not as likely to get a masterwork in free play as if you were going to the stronghold or a raid-like activity. And of course, the ultimate, the legendary, are going to be like the masterwork item, but more powerful. How? They didn't really go into detail, other than to say it's a more powerful version of the masterwork. So as you go up, common is the base level. Uncommon, as soon as you hit an uncommon item, green item, then you start getting what they call inscriptions. So these bonus stats. And these stats range from extra damage, pickup radius, extra ammo on pickup, extra health on pickup, extra flight time, extra hover time, etc. So it runs the gambit from utility, movement, what you get when you pick up an item, how often items drop. There's a luck bonus, which I would assume either items drop more frequently or you have a higher chance of getting a more rare item. So as you go up from common to uncommon, you get an extra, you get 1 bonus. You go up another level, you get a second bonus or second inscription. When you go to epic, you have 3 inscriptions. And then you go all the way up to 4 inscriptions when you get to masterwork. Additionally, masterwork items have an additional orange inscription, which is always going to be the same for each item. So, Jar's Grasp, the Exploder, whatever weapon or mod that you get, that inscription will always be the same for that specific item. So if you get a weapon and it's called the Exploder will have plus 50% blast damage. But that'll always be the same. But those 4 inscriptions, those 4 bonuses at the bottom, pickup radius, elemental resistance, luck, bonus health on pickup, those will all change every time, and the level will correspond to your pilot level. So as your pilot level goes up, I think the breadth of inscriptions will be more likely, so you have a bigger pool to draw from, more randomness, more reason to go out and get more loot. So they talked about different levels of difficulty in the game. They talked about Lancer, Freelancer, and then Master as the 3 base levels, and then 3 extra levels that you'll have to unlock in the game either as you progress or as you get towards the end game. And those are Grandmaster 1, 2, and 3. As you go up in those difficulties, either in free play or during a mission or a stronghold or a raid, you will get a higher chance of better loot. Obviously, going to Grandmaster 3 is going to get you the best possible chance of getting legendary loot. So going into free play at Grandmaster 3, great idea to get the best loot. However, all these things are kind of gated in a way. You're not going to want to go in at level 1 into a stronghold with all common items. Strongholds are more endgame activities. You're going to want better gear, which gets us to your gear score for your javelins. Every weapon, every gear mod, component support piece, they all have scores attached to them. Common are going to be the lowest, and they all have ranges: common, uncommon, rare, epic, masterwork, legendary, and each one will increase your score as you go up in rarity, as you go up in level. So once you hit certain gear score thresholds, let's say once you get over 50, you go from common to uncommon. And this will be reflected in the forge when you're equipping and crafting different weapons and putting it on and seeing how that changes your gear score. So you go from a common ranger to an uncommon ranger, uncommon to rare, rare to epic, epic to masterwork, and then masterwork to legendary, legendary being the top tier. So anything, let's say 400 or above, is in the legendary, and then depending on the gear pieces that you get will determine your total score. Now, as I said before, the components will unlock, so you may have 0 to begin with, and as you progress as a pilot, you unlock those slots, so you go from 0 to 1 to all the way to 6. So that will, of course, increase your score and get you to a higher tier. Now, those tiers are important because the higher difficulty levels do recommend certain tiers. So if you're going for Grandmaster 3, which is the best chance of getting that legendary gear. It also more than likely recommends that you're a legendary javelin. So you're not going to take your uncommon Colossus into Grandmaster 3 Stronghold. You're going to take your legendary Ranger to do that Grandmaster 3 Stronghold. Each javelin, so you'll eventually get all 4 javelins as you progress in the story. They said about 25% into the game you'll get all 4, and then you'll have to work on getting gear for each one. Now, some weapons will transition from one javelin to another. However, there are some that are specific to a javelin. So heavy weapons only go on the Colossus and cannot be used by any other javelin. Assault launcher may only be able to be used by the Ranger and none of the others. Until we get a little bit closer to the launch, we won't know. Now, as a result of the different inscriptions and slots for your different components and support, you can have a variety of different builds. You can have just a general build that kind of does a lot of different things at once. So a little bit extra damage from weapons, a little bit extra damage from your grenade, a little bit extra damage, resistance from incoming damage, some elemental damage resistance. You can get extra flight time, extra hover time, extra pickup radius, and just run the gambit of different things. So you have a general build that is not really specialized in anything, but a little bit better at everything. Or you could go and build a survivalist build, which specializes in going into surviving harder content. So if you're going and doing free play by yourself, go into the harder difficulty. You do a more survivalist one that has a little bit more impact on your guns, but in general has more impact resistance, elemental resistance, things that'll help you survive. Now you can go and make a hunter-gatherer type build, which will increase your luck chance, extra harvest bonus, extra pickup radius, and then maybe a little extra damage resistance and extra flight time to go and get to those hard to reach spots. So while you're doing free play and you're going out either by yourself or with other people, you can have that sort of build where you're just kind of poking around and looking around, and you want to be able to get to different areas, so you have extra flight time as one of the major specs on your gear mods. And then you have, like I said, extra pickup radius, extra luck, extra harvest bonus. So while you're out looking around, if you find something interesting, you have a better chance of getting something good. So as you can see, there is a large variety of things that you can do and spec into. So if you're into min-maxing, you can max out your weapon damage or your ability damage, your grenades and your launchers and your ultimates, and get your cooldowns, and you can work on that. If you just want to put stuff on and go out there, you can, and it will be interesting to see how well it synergizes with the player base more than with it itself, with the different components. With having, let's say, 4 inscriptions on each component pieces, that's 24 inscriptions for components, and then another 4 for support, plus 2 weapons and abilities. So you're talking about 3 abilities, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 times 4, 48, so almost 50 different inscriptions that you can have, not including masterwork inscriptions. So that is a lot of information to digest. So the average gamer may not be all that interested in all the different inscriptions that you can have, they want to get out and go play. And just putting on different mods and just putting on the best gear score mod will certainly do that. But you're not going to be optimizing your resistance or damage based on what the inscriptions are. So on its face, it is a really deep gear progression and grind, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of people that will be able to go in and try and grab that really good rolls on weapons and components and abilities, like I said, for that min-maxing. And I think people that don't want to work on it, they don't want to build spreadsheets to look at what is the best in slot for different things, for what they want to do. I think it'll still be accessible, but I don't think will be able to enjoy some of the end-game content as much. It will be more difficult if you don't kind of keep track of some of those inscriptions. All right, and that is it. It is a lot of information to take in. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to ring the bell before you leave to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. And thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and we'll see you next time.